to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
And if you've been with us for a while, we know we like to cover her up. We just like to hide her with our centerpiece as much as we possibly can. Welcome back. We hope you're having a good Memorial weekend. Most of us in the U.S. have a long weekend this weekend, and it's a time to remember those who served and who were fallen in service. So, but we also, it's a nice time to have a little break in the spring as well. So, we are back. I'm back from Chicago, and I didn't freeze today. I was chilly, just enough. And then actually I was too hot at the conference because I dressed for cold anyway. But we're back. I think Beth's going to go first. I'm going to move those fireworks so you can actually see her, I guess. And
fold them to the side so the thing will stay up.
Absolutely. All right, we'll be right. That's a little better, huh? You can see all of us. So Beth is going to go first, and we'll see what she's up to. Apparently she has a finish.
Yes, I have a finish, and I have just a little bit. I just wanted to this sheep that I was working on last week. I went ahead and finished the words. I think I had not quite finished all the words across the bottom last time, but so I finished all the words, and now I have to put it up because
you finished the sheep.
The sheep I finished before last week.
Oh.
But I was just like up to here.
Oh, I see.
Or something. So I finished the words.
She needs to do grass and water.
Oh,
yeah.
the grass.
The flowers.
The
There's the flowers here, and there's the whole gigantic pile of grass. Why do sheep have to stand on grass? I thought sheep ate
that's
grass.
their superpower. They turn grass into wool.
It's true. Anyway, so I did a little more.
Either that, or they solve murders.
Yeah. Yeah, you should go see The Sheep Detectives. It's a funny, cute movie. And it's got Hugh Jackman, so. But, so that was my second WIP-GO call. And so the other two, so I had for May, my two new starts. So they were, the first one was, I showed this last time, I can't show the pattern. Never Mind by Lindy Stitches. It's a play on the Nevermore, quoth the Raven, Edgar Allan Poe quote. So this is Never Mind, quoth the passive-aggressive Raven. And I finished it. I started it on the 19th, and I finished it just yesterday.
Cool. That's a pretty fabric.
Yeah, this fabric is, I think, I had a little label here. We thought we counted it as 36 count. It's from that grab bag that we had from our friend Vicky. Vicky, is it?
Yeah,
Vicky.
Vicky.
It? Yeah. So looking at the pattern, on paper, it looks big. But in reality, it's not very big at all. So, so I was able to put it on this piece of fabric.
You only use half.
Yeah. Yeah, so I still have another half for something small also, so. Yeah. Well, and I wasn't sure, I kind of gave it a little bit of like a 2-inch margin or something like that. Because I couldn't believe that it would be that small, but so, yeah. But it was great. It was easy and fun, and the only thing that took forever was the Raven's actual body. It was like, more and more black.
He looks so cool.
But I like it, yeah. So that's done. And then my other new start is Moon Gazer by Heartstring Samplery. And this one, it's a bunny sitting on the snow, and there's some trees and the moon and night sky around it. And of course the night sky part is not stitched, it's just the fabric. And so, let me take this out of the hoop, sorry. You can see it a little better. This is, I did it on 2/2 on Lugana that I dyed myself. I think I showed the fabric before. this side. So you can't really see it so much on camera, but I started way over here in the corner, and I just did these little isolated stars, and it was a counting pain in the you know what, because I thought, well, nobody would know if I was off by a square or two, whatever, but I wanted to make sure that the moon was in the right place because that's the edge of the pattern. This little like a little, I don't know, 4-stitch star over here, and the moon is the width of the pattern. So it's not going to be any wider than this. But, so I wanted to make sure this was more or less as right as possible so that the moon would be in the right place. And then, so at this point, I'm basically stitching the moon, and I'm leaving holes in it, empty stitches, because it's got, like the real moon, got, craters and pits or whatever on it, right? And I already missed one of them completely. I stitched right over it. So, but I thought I would, I'll just, fill in those things so I don't have to skip over them. And I realized I have most of the threads for this design, but not that one. And on this design, there's also like a couple of trees, right? And then you get the big field of snow and the bunny and all that. Well, I have the colors for the bunny. There's like 2 colors. There's an outline color and the bunny himself. But I don't have the colors for the trees. And I don't have that brown, I think it's tin roof or something like that. I don't have. And I don't have the color for the trees. And
So basically you're not prepared.
So I can't do anything. Yeah, so I had ordered the threads, but they haven't come yet.
I
so.
see.
I have tin roof,
No. Well.
if you want to use it.
Anyway, so yeah, so this is where I am right now. So I'm working on it. I have a few more days. The month is not over, so whatever. And then last weekend was Spring Mingle, and I bought a few things. Show the free one first. Yeah, and they had an official freebie for Spring Mingle called Indigo Road. This is
So
by
pretty.
Hands On Design.
So pretty.
And she was saying in her little thing about it, she was saying that she said in late summer and early fall of 22, the bridge on the county road that leads to our home was closed. This meant 8+ weeks of a fairly hefty detour. Anyway, so the area she was driving through had the roads were named after like gemstones, apparently. Indigo Drive, followed by Jade Road, and more gemstones. So that's what kind of inspired the name of this, Indigo Road. So it's a pretty little blue. It's
love the way
house
she-
and
I love the way she takes inspiration from just
Things
anything.
around life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, I got that little freebie, and then I also bought Strawberry Moon. This designer Stitches by Ethel. She did. I think she's done a couple others of this moon.
Several other
Yeah.
moons.
So, Strawberry Moon.
Yeah, that's really cute.
Stephanie Webb already stitched this. She said she thought, oh, it's so cute. I have to stitch it. But she did hers like an actual pink for the moon instead of a white color, and so she had to like use different fabric or something because of the way she did it. But or maybe the moon is actually
The
so
moon is a
pinkish.
very light pink instead of a darker pink.
But so it's very cute. And actually, I wanted some of her other moon patterns that I've seen. I just didn't buy them until for Spring Mingle. I went ahead and bought that. And then this one was also one I bought called Bird Party. It's also very pretty.
Are they like
I don't know if they're actual real
birds?
birds. I
They
think
look
they
like
are.
They're
it,
real
yeah.
birds.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking Hannah might really like.
Yeah,
this.
that's what I was thinking of
look,
when I
there's
saw that.
there's what are those? What are those called? That's her favorite bird.
Oh.
With the black bird with the orange on its
Orioles?
wings. No, that's not an oriole.
Oh.
This is an oriole.
I don't remember what it's
That's a
called.
blue jay.
But yeah.
I can't think of it now. Red-winged blackbird, I think is what it's called. Something
Oh,
like
it
that.
could be. I think they had a lot of those in Arkansas. I used to see them all the time on the interstate, beside the interstate when I was driving to work. But anyway, so I bought this bird party, and then I bought a piece of fabric that was an official, I guess, exclusive fabric for design for Spring Mingle that I ordered, and then some Putini pins that I ordered. So those are, I'm still waiting on those to come. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was preparing for cross stitch camp. And I talked about last week that I was going to do, for the patriotic, I'm going to do the Freedom Flock, and for the New to You, I'm doing the Robin Pickens Glory in the Wind. But for June, it was Stitch Something from my magazine. And so I have this is an fall of 2020 issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. And Eve had, I think she just showed it, was it last week that you showed you had the finish of the Barbara Anna
2 weeks ago.
cat thing. And I thought, well, since Eve didn't do the whole picture, she did part of it, I said I could do the whole
Are
thing.
you gonna copycat her?
But instead, I didn't realize this was in the same magazine. This is Autumn Etching by Cecilia Turner, Heart and Hand. And she did several of these, at least 1 year's worth. I don't know if this was the first one or if she started actually with the spring issue. But she did, because I've actually done this before, but I gave it to Rachel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I always wanted, like, I kind of want that for myself. But
Isn't that the best gift, they say?
yeah. So this is I printed out, I copied the pages of the magazine, and my something, I had a glitch in my printer or something, because like right in the middle here, it kind of like everything goes shifts over.
As long as it doesn't do it on the pattern.
Yeah. So I was afraid of that when I copied the pattern that it would do something like that, but the pattern is clean. But anyway, so yeah, that she I stitched the summer one was like 3 fish that I stitched for my dad, and then I don't know what he did with it, because when we were packing stuff up to move,
It was on the wall in his bathroom.
I
haven't
couldn't
seen
find
it.
it. It wasn't
Maybe it's
there when we were
boxed up.
packing stuff up.
Robert probably packed it.
But so it remains unfound at this point. But I did that one for my dad. I did this one for Rachel, and then there was a spring one that had a bunny, and a winter one that had a cardinal, and those two I have. So if I can find the one I did for my dad and this one, then I'll have a farm. The only thing I wasn't sure was like whether or not I used the same fabric for all of them or not. So, and I thought, I kind of want to do that, but I thought, you know what, I'm not gonna worry
Do
about
it
it.
all over again.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it all again. So yeah, so I'm not gonna worry about it. So, yeah. So anyway, I think that is me.
So I'm going next. Let me do something so I don't lose my needle and stop it.
Apparently Beth's been singing the same song all week because she lost her needle.
No, I was just this morning.
Just this morning.
I was singing the REM song, "Losing My Religion."
So I am working on Murder in the Garden. I have not touched this since we did our last video. So whatever work I do today is all that's been done. So right now I'm working with the blue color. So there's that. And then here's the picture of the shirt that I'm working on, that I'm crocheting. I could hold it up on my phone again, but we have a big picture. And so let me hold this up the right way. This is the bodice so far, not the bodice, the shirt part,
The lower part of the shirt.
the lower part of the shirt, and I'm starting on the back right here. So
It's cool.
I think it's going to look really cool once it's done. I'm just worried about the gauge. There's no way to know until you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Nice thing about yarn is I could always just rip it right out. And then I have a finish. I finished one of my Flosstube Frenzy pieces, so I stuck another one in the slot. Cute Crocodile by Tiny Modernist. It was so close to being done, and I'm like, I'm just going to finish it. I was talking it over with Beth, and I was like, we're in the car, and I'm picking out white. We were waiting for something, and
I had an appointment.
she had an appointment, and we got there too early. So I was picking out the white stitches. I'm like, I can't see them. So I put them pink instead.
Nice.
And,
Good choice.
and I thought about using this blue because the blue isn't in there very much, but I thought that would be too, I don't know. So, yeah. So I finished it yesterday. I didn't stitch on anything else up until then. The dog is tickling my leg with her face. Okay. They're trying desperately to be kicked out again. I did some work on Erica Michaels' the America Berry. By the way, she's put out another set of 3 red, white, and blueberry.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh. She stitched them on brown again, a neutral.
Uh-huh.
But I think they would look really cool on a different color, and I'm like, but I'm barely getting by with this. I'm gonna switch from 32 count to 16 count. This 32 count is making my eyes crazy. So I had to frog the E and the R of Erica because the R was not right. But that means that the whole thing is off from where it should be with the 250. So when I'm doing the stars and all that, I'm going to have to like adjust because I'm not going to worry about it. So the A of America is going to stick out more than it should. But like you say, if people complain about it, they're not my friends and I don't care. What I should have been working on instead of Cute Crocodile was hands-on design, summer basket, the final one. Part of it is that my mind wants to say, I've already finished this. I don't want to work on it. And so I have to kind of make myself work on it, and it's not giving me joy. And yet when I see it coming together, I'm like, oh, I like that. Stupid. So I just put in more of these little green squares, and I finished off a thread of red on this side over here. So these red, I don't know if you can tell from the picture. It's 2 colors of red. They're very close in color. But there's 2 colors of red, so it makes little diamonds on the side. But you have to count like a demon to get that. You're like, I can't even see it. Look how different colors are red.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're really hard to see.
Oh well.
Yeah. So, I'm working on that. What I did work on yesterday was I am regretting this pattern.
Oh no. Oh no.
Temperature Pets. It's beautiful once you get it right, but for some reason I get the days wrong. And
No.
because it's not just one thing that you do and they separate them, you can count them easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but I persevered and I got it right. So here's my progress on the cat. Except where you see the third red
Mhm.
here, it should be one stitch in on either side, and I looked at it and went, I don't care.
It's
That's
fat.
a misshapen
Little
cat.
fat cat.
He's a fat kitty.
A little bit fatter.
Also yesterday, or day before yesterday, I worked on Stitchy Pro's anchored tails. I wanted to.
I love that design.
I wanted to do this piece of seaweed. And so I put in the seaweed, I started putting it in, and I got to what was, I thought, the end of my thread. And I took it to the back to anchor it, and I went, there's a big long loop of that, and you know, that's premium thread, right? So I have a finite amount of this green thread, and I don't want to have to order it again. So I'm not going to waste a good 2 inches of the thread. So I had to frog up what I'd done, and I said, I'm done with it. You know.
Did you have a knot or something? Or
Yeah, there was a knot, and it made this big long loop, and I hadn't caught it. Because, you know, I'm stitching from the front. If I can, I use the sewing method, so I don't see the back. And so when I pull it tight, I'm like, it's tight, you know?
Yeah.
And so when I turned to the back, I
Did
went,
you just say back?
I said back. I said back.
I turned to the back.
I lived in the South too long. When I lived in Florida, I started speaking like a lot of the Southern ladies from Georgia and all that. Anyway, I frogged up to where it was, and I put a couple more stitches in, and then I said, okay, you're going in timeout for today. I love this pattern. I just love it. It gives me so much joy when I'm working on
So
it.
cute.
I'm just like, oh, look at him. He's so cute. He's hanging on. Look at his little tail holding that. Well, I like sea turtles. I mean,
Seahorses.
I do like them too. But seahorses.
They're so cute.
I like in like cartoons and stuff when they
Yeah.
have the horses, the seahorses, like racing like real horses. I took one whole day. I wanted to finish this blue, but I didn't. I took one whole day where I was just working on this.
Oh, that's neat. It's going to be done in 2 seconds.
And probably another good day and a half work on this big flowers with. I basically have 2 and like a half more flowers to do for the blue. The big satin stitch flowers. Not only do they take a lot of thread, they take forever to do. So, and I don't want to just. I want to do it.
Yes.
You know.
Do it well.
Do it well,
Yeah.
because I want it on my wall for a long time. So that's where that is. I had so wanted to get the red done, but maybe I'll get it done this weekend, you know.
You mean get the blue done?
The blue. I want to start on the red. And I'm like, should I do red and red and red and red, or red and white?
I think you should do red and white because you'll get bored.
Yeah.
It reminds me of I think about this every time I get dressed. Years ago, when All in the Family was on television, for those of you who remember.
A sock and a sock and a shoe and a shoe.
Yes!
The red and the red and the white and the white.
Yeah.
So I did one more letter on Crazy Stitch Redo Geek, and I think I mentioned that my son said, oh, just take out the Firefly reference and make sure it fits. So here we are. I'm almost done with, I only have to do 2 more letters on that, and then I'm on the home stretch to, we don't care what others think, because in this house we do geek. He went to see the Mandalorian Grogu.
Oh, did he?
I want to go see that.
Yeah, I want to see it this week. Anyway, because Lindy Stitches likes me better than Beth, I got my fabric that I bought. This is a fat quarter of 16 count vintage country mocha for the next berry that I do that needs a neutral. 16 count or anything else I need a 16 count neutral for. And then for sorry, I'm like I thought I had I picked fabric too, but it's just black.
Oh. Cross stitch
For
camp.
cross stitch camp in June, I picked Fox's Winter Joy, which is this one right here. Look at him, isn't he cute?
Oh, he's cute.
It's,
That's a
it's
neat magazine.
tiny, but it's a lot of stitching. So,
Can I see?
Who's that by?
I don't know.
Three Tiny Owls. Is the company?
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah. That's
I thought-
pretty.
At first, because it was on black fabric, I assumed it was a stitching with a house line, but I hadn't, looked at it. I just guessed.
That is so cute, Eve.
Isn't it adorable?
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna. There was a pattern from that same. No, the different magazine, but it was a Christmas thing that I was supposed to work on last month. That I was supposed to start, and I just was like not wanting to. And I said I should start it this time. And I went, no. And that's the one I'm gonna do. And then for July, I purchased a Stitching with the Housewives pattern. It's 250 Years of Freedom. The name of the pattern is 250 Years of Freedom. I was thinking maybe it was called something else.
It's from this series, yeah.
The Sideways Stripper series. I know. Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah. But I like a lot of their patriotic pieces, and they put a lot of them out for the 250. And I said, I'm going to have to pick one. Lately, this printer is cutting off half of my
Oh no.
stuff. Anyway, I don't need to hold that slot. That is me.
That's you?
I was gonna say I forgot to mention that when we were talking about patriotic, I was kind of hoping to pull the trigger, but I'm looking at my finances and deciding whether or not I can afford it. But the Plum Street Samplers, A Worthy Patriot, because I thought, I'm not gonna buy it because it's so big, but then the more I've looked at it, I thought, I want to buy it. It's really pretty. So yeah, and I was looking at the threads to see whether I have them, and so I think there's a couple that I would have to order, like maybe 3 or 4 that I would have to order. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna do that. I saw some Flosstube where the person was talking about stitching patriotic from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Oh.
And I thought, that's a good
That's
idea.
a fun idea.
But yeah, so
Better get started.
I know.
You could make this moon in gray, and it could be a Death Star. Because I'm looking at this, I'm like, it kind of looks like the Death Star with the little lines, because she has some lines here. Sorry, I didn't mean to grab it out of your hand. Okay, so I'm up.
She has piles of
I've
yarn.
got piles
in
of
front
yarn here. So, as you may remember, so this is my main big project that I'm working on, and I did work on it some after I left you all, before I left for
You're
Chicago.
a little bit off the camera.
Yeah, a little bit. So this is my main. I'm gonna actually move these back.
Yeah.
Oops. Sorry. Nothing down. Anyway, so this is my main project. This is the knit swirl sweater called Stratosphere, and it's coming. I'm liking the drape of it as much as you can tell when it's stuffed on the needles this way. It'll really especially after it's blocked, it'll be a lot different. But this is got a lot of silk in it, so it has nice drape and it has a great feel to it. So there's that, and this is huge. Still many stitches around, but I really have been enjoying this pattern. And so that's my big one. And then, as you may recall, Hannah's yarn hadn't come yet for her top, her horizon top, which I'll show you in a second. So I was like, I need a project for Chicago. So I decided to make those, here's a photo, the sailor slippers, where you make a striped slipper and then you shrink it in your washing machine, which my new Speed Queen will happily oblige. So if you recall, I dug through my wool, my 100% non-superwash wool that I had on hand. I wasn't sure it was going to be enough, but it turns out it is. So what I decided to do was hold this color blue double. So you'll see I'm working on one right now. I'm pulling from the inside of the ball and the outside at the same time. So to do this. So, and then I did these two held together for a marled stripe. And then I'm going to do this along the cuff. So, and black as the sole. So here is, while I was in Chicago, I was able to make one. It's really big, obviously. So you start at the heel. You make this, it's all curled on itself because the yarn. But you make the heel, so it's actually just a rectangle like this. Then you cast on right here. Then you that's right. You pick up stitches along, so you make just the rectangle for the heel. Then you pick up stitches along here, cast on this edge, and then pick up stitches along this side of the rectangle. And then you go forward. So I did...
That is gigantic.
A slipper for a giant.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
it shrinks, you
I know.
goofballs.
Well, I know it shrinks, but right now...
So it's blue and this gray. I really like it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Gray and marl stripe. And then I was like, what color do I want on the bottom? Because whatever color on the bottom is going to get dirty, right? Because you're going to wear it around your house. So I figured black. In my house, it'll pick up all the cat hair, but that's okay. So I made so you finish the toe, and then you pick up the stitches with the sole color, and you shape it according to left or right foot, and you make the sole.
Does it feel soft?
No, it feels like wool. It's
No,
okay.
I mean-
It's not bad. Oh, yeah, no, it'll be... And plus, once it's felted, it'll feel like a piece of felt under your foot. There won't be... The stitches go away.
It won't be like Grandma's.
No.
Where it hurts your feet. That's why I framed the last one she made me. I was
Yeah.
like, I can't wear them.
So what you do is you sew these two pieces together. What I'm going to do is steam block them so they'll lay flat. And you sew along the edges like this. And then with the purple yarn, you add an I-cord edge around here, which makes it's like a round tubular,
Like a little cuff.
like a tubular cuff. Yeah. And then once it's all sewn together, you throw it in the wash on hot, and wash it till it shrinks up. You know how you don't want your sweaters? That's what you want. So that's, but I really kind of like that. I'm digging the colors. I think it'll be nice.
Mm-hmm.
These are just for me.
Yeah.
And then everyone around me is going to want some. Now, the real challenge in my house is I'm going to make these nice felted slippers, and then my cat's going to steal them. But I figured maybe I can keep them away from him. But anyway, so what's funny is...
You're going to be walking and the cats are going to be doing.
I know. What's funny is when I went to Chicago, I was like, this pattern has many pages. And I was like, well, I'm just going to print out, a few pages because how much time am I going to have? So I just picked like what I thought basically the main thing. And then I got to a point at this one where I basically finished it, and I was supposed to do the I-cord edge, but I didn't print the paper. So I went ahead and started the second one. So here's my second one started. The night before I left to come home, I did the heel, and then I picked up the stitches. So here I am going around and around here. So And it was real quick because since it's written for bulky yarn, so I was holding. That's why I'm holding two together, and it worked out great. I think it from what I see online, it looks exactly like everyone else's should look, and basically you just shrink it till it fits your foot. So it'll work. So as I'm sitting in my hotel in Chicago, I get a message from my husband that says your yarn came. And that yarn is the one for Hannah's sweater and Corley's sweater, the identical twin sweaters that are going to Boston. And it was 4 of these. These are the 3. It's the brand is Tilly by Baracco, and it is not linen. Remember, I wanted to make these in linen. This is not linen. It's cotton and cupro, which I should look it up. But my yarn store manager said that cupro is like a fine cast off of cotton spinning, and then they take that and spin it into another yarn. So it's still cotton, but it's called cupro because it's a different process, kind of like the bamboo process. I don't totally understand. I need to read more about it. But what this is a chain construction. So if you can, I'll try to do a close up. But you see the yarn actually is like a little I-cord tube. It's not plies, which keeps it, more together in a way, and gives it a different behavior. And so I wound up last night, because I was so excited, I got home from Chicago, and I wound up a ball and started the sweater. Because I had already done a swatch, and I knew I should swatch in the new yarn, but I didn't. So I think it's working out perfectly in terms of so this is
You didn't swatch the new yarn?
No, because I didn't. Because I figured, this is easy enough to pull out, but I can tell by the way it's behaving that it's going to be the same. So this is the pattern. You can see the windows that it makes, and the way you do that is by wrapping the yarn around the needle before you make the next stitch, and then on the pass back you just drop those wraps, and it makes this elongated stitch. And then there's portions of like regular knits and purls in between and they alternate each set of them. You can see that like a set of elongated stitches,
it's going to be so pretty,
alternates over the regular smaller stitches. So this is I have 1 repeat done and started the 2nd repeat. And so you basically, this is the back, you make this, and then you make the front basically identical, just a little bit shorter, like 1 repeat less or something. I haven't totally read through. And then basically you just sew it up at the sides, you leave an opening for the armhole, and you leave an opening for the head, and you just sew along here, and it makes just a regular draped kind of drop shoulder sleeve, just from the drape of the fabric. So super simple. You just basically stitch two rectangles and sew them together. In my case, I have to make 4, but so
the pattern is so pretty.
It's so pretty, and I think it's not black, which she wanted, but she likes the gray. I just sent her a picture just now, and I think I just got a heart back about it. It's like, here's your sweater. So, so this I did in a night, and so it'll go fast. What's nice is it's big needles. They're big stitches.
The front half or the back half?
This is the back. This is the back. Yeah. So you make the back first, and then.
No, but I mean that's the size for the back.
Yeah. Well, and it's on the needle, so once it's like, I can't even stretch it all the way out because it'll fall off the needle, and it is supposed to be very oversized. So, because it creates drape. So that's the size of it. Oop. If we pull it all the way off, all the way out, and so it gives you measurements to block it to.
It's behind the.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. But yeah, you can really see the pattern in it.
So beautiful.
Through the sunlight, yeah. So that's going well. My other project in the back of my mind is my new bed, new quilt. And I brought my book. So let me find that page. It's called I believe this is the one I'm going to make, because you remember Mark said, I don't care, in a nice way. Which is nice. Some people care. He doesn't care. 24.
I think it's that he knows that you're not going to make something crazy.
Yeah, I think he'll care. He'll have more to say about the actual fabric.
Choose colors, yeah.
Yeah. So here's a picture. It's folded up, but here's a picture of the Archer star. So you can see the arrows and the stars in it. And unlike the Hunter star pattern that I made a couple of years ago for my daughter.
And on your jacket too. Right?
Yeah, my jacket. The Hunter, the arrows are at 45-degree angles, and here they're perpendicular. So this is I'll do a close-up of this, but this is the pattern called Archer Star. And you can see that all the stars are the same color in this one. And in the other one I did, I believe, I don't remember. I'll have to look at photos of Hannah's Hunter Star.
So wait, the Hunter star is the perpendicular one, and the Archer star is the angled one, or the other way around?
They call this Archer Star, I think, because it's a variation on the Hunter Star. Hunter Star is like historical, like everybody,
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of how you put together the pieces. And so, like, I can find a picture of Hannah's Hunter Star, just a second. But and this is just, they call this pattern the Archer Star because it's a variation, I think. And this has all the, I thought that the stars, when I made the stars before, they were scrappy. See how all the stars are blue and white? And then the arrows are different colors? And that to me feels different. I don't know why am I... but I'll find a picture here and put up the Hunter Star that I made for Hannah. It's here in my Instagram, but it won't pull up. And of course I don't have my photos in folders like I should. But anyway, so the reason I'm using this though is that the Hunter Star pattern that I did for Missouri Star isn't big enough for my bed. And this one has a variation where you can make with the same fabric 2 smaller quilts or 1 large one. And so I'm choosing to make the large one because we need one that's, it's making me mad. We need one that's bigger for my
for your bigger bed,
for my giant bed. So let's see. I know when I made it. Sorry to be like this, but I wanted to show it because it really, you can see the difference. And I've always liked the Hunter Star, and so I was going to remake it, but then I realized that's not, at least the pattern that they have is not big enough. And so I'm like, I don't want to do quilt math. I want someone else to do the quilt math. Because I thought about my really, really, and maybe I don't know, I go back and forth every day, but my really favorite quilt pattern is called Storm at Sea because it's all right angles. I mean, it's all straight lines, but it makes it look like
waves.
Like waves.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are. Let's see. Okay, so I did find it. I'll put a close up of this photo. The stars are scrappy and the arrows are scrappy. So you see the white ones stand out, but the colored ones have different tails, different. See how their edges of the arrows are different colors because they're also making up part of the star. So in this so this one is totally scrappy. And last week I said I made it out of felt. It wasn't felt; it was flannel. I put it in the line. But yeah, so this is the Hunter Star, and the one that they made with the amount of blocks that they used for this pattern, it wouldn't be big enough for my bed. So that's why I picked this. So the difference, you'll see that all the arrows are the same color. They don't have scrappy tails on them, and all the stars are solid, which I kind of like because it makes it stand out a lot better. So anyway, I think I'm going to do this. I was going to say my other favorite quilt is Storm at Sea because it's all straight lines, but when you put it together, your eye sees this flowing thing, and I really like it. But the problem is the pattern I have. It's like, well, this is how to make the block, and you just have to figure out how many blocks you want across and how many blocks down, and then, and I can do it. I've done it before, but part of me is just like, maybe I just won't. I don't know, but Storm at Sea is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to put up a picture here of what Storm at Sea looks like.
What have you used that for before?
I haven't.
Oh.
I started one a long time ago because on YouTube there is a video of a Storm at Sea tutorial, and it comes and you can download it's paper piecing, which paper piecing is you sew the pieces together right on a piece of paper and trim it right up with the piece of paper, and then you pull the paper off, and then you have your square.
Yeah.
And so I started it, but I didn't know how much fabric to buy. I didn't know, and I started in purples. Well, I don't want purples for this bed. But it's really cool when you get it done and it's all there. You can see, because it's literally just the way you put the triangles and diamonds together, and then I'll put a picture here. It gives you like your eye sees curves, and I've always just thought that was so cool. And Missouri Star Quilt Company does not have a Storm at Sea. They've created one that's like a giant thing, a Storm at Sea thing that like it's like a adaptation or something different. But anyway, so it's not just like what I want. So and the reason they don't do it is because they always use pre-cuts. That's their thing.
Yeah.
Not always, but a lot. And so I think they just haven't come up with the easy way to do it. Now I'm changing my mind. Stay tuned. Okay, so that is me, and that brings us to our question of the week. Last week we asked if you're doing spring mingle or any other retreats, and Vicki said that she went to her first ever in-person retreat in Oklahoma. So that's fun. That would be neat. I like in-person things. Our question this week, as we are Memorial Weekending, what are your plans? Are you doing anything vacation-wise, celebratory, anything like that? Yeah. So let us know. Let us know what your plans are for this weekend.
This is bothering me.
Oh, I know. I put it back in your face. Sorry.
No,
Anyway,
there was one of the little
stars was messed
sprays were hooked on the stars.
Oh.
Like, no, it has to be
Thanks for
straight.
fixing it. It was critical to the video. So let us know what you're doing this weekend, this long weekend. I have to actually work. I have to pull up my computer and get some work done because I was gone all week. So that leads us to stories. And most of my stories just Chicago. Chicago was cold, but it wasn't freezing. And so, of course, I overdressed. And when I got to the conference, because I had to walk, I was roasting all day. And I'm like, oh. And I wore a pullover sweater, and I was wearing a long sleeve white shirt, which actually looked really cute. But I didn't want to take the sweater off because my shirt was tucked in, and I don't do tucked in. Sorry. And I didn't want to untuck my sweater because my shirt, because the bottom of my shirt was all wrinkled, from being tucked in. So I was like, I'm just going to have to be hot. So I suffered all day.
Slave to fashion.
But it was a good conference. It was about our ticketing software called Patron Manager. And there's a lot of good things happening with that company. So it was really good to connect. They had some really good things where they allowed us to talk to each other, which I thought was really good, and you learn a lot from people who are just in the trenches with you. So it was really good. It was really, really good. My only complaint is that they asked about dietary restrictions, and so beforehand, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I wrote and I said, that I'm diabetic and that I will just need to know. I don't care if there isn't low carb options, or non-carb options, but I just want to know. So if I need to bring my own food, right? And so the first night there was it was like a cocktail reception where they're bringing out little appetizers and stuff, and and I could pick and choose, and that was fine, and there were some that were great, so no problem. But I asked about breakfast, and I was like, because I need, if it's all going to be, because a lot of times breakfast is just
Donuts and
carb, and
Pancakes,
also
pancakes and biscuits. And
right, and bagels, and yeah. So also, I've been on a steroid. I had some inflammation. It was really bad, and so they put me on a high dose steroid before I left, and it helped me because I wouldn't have been able to go with the pain I was having, but that made my blood sugar really bad. So I was like, I cannot, if possible, stray from the narrow road, and so I was really concerned. And I'm like totally fine to find my own breakfast, but I just need to know, I don't want to show up and everything. So she was like, we got your restrictions, we understand, and everything will be labeled, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. So I show up the next day, and it is literally, there's a bowl of yogurt. Well, yogurt is great, but is it sweetened? What is it? What is it? Because if it's just regular, what you want to think of like Yoplait yogurt, it's probably got a ton of sugar in it.
That has a lot of sugar.
And there was only like, there were some nuts. No, that day there weren't. I don't know what was there to mix in, but I think they had just like more, like, I don't know. I can't remember. But they had fruit, which of course normally when I'm not on a steroid, I can eat fruit within reason, but that time I was like, I can't eat fruit. And then everything else was carbs, was like, bagels, muffins, everything like that. And I started to feel really upset. I'm like, there's nothing here I can eat. So I went to one of the organizers. She was very sweet. And I'm like, I said, she goes, well, there's yogurt and there's fruit. And I'm like, no. I said, fruit is not no carb, guys. Fruit is no gluten, which I think they were thinking, because there was other things that were labeled gluten-free. Well, gluten-free is almost never low carb. You think it would be because it doesn't have flour, but it has rice or whatever else they make, used to make the whatever other kind of flour, unless it's almond flour.
And yogurt, in order for people to stomach it, has to be sweetened somehow.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know anything about that yogurt, because it was just in a big giant bowl. So she's like, well, she goes, I will go find out. She goes, well, what can you eat? And I said, well, something with protein, like eggs, or because she said it will just be regular breakfast fare, which sometimes includes eggs and sometimes doesn't, right? So, and I hated to be a big baby, but I was feeling really upset, because it's just, I don't know, it's just awful when you have to.
Well, number one, it's part of what you pay for the conference.
Yeah.
Getting fed. And number two, you show up instead of going out to McDonald's.
I had asked the night before.
Yeah.
And I would have, there was a little cafe downstairs I could have gotten eggs from. But I just need to know.
Yeah.
And so when I show up and there's nothing labeled for me and nothing marked for me, like I thought maybe they would have a few, like, here's like this, like here's a meal for everybody else, and here, that's what some like other meetings I've been to, they'd be like, this one is for you because this is a special request. And I usually don't want to be like that. Usually I'm like, I can bring my own, just let me know, you know?
Right.
So I was sitting at the table and I'm thinking, well, I'm just, because I always carry like a protein bar in my bag that I know I can eat. So I was like sitting there going, well, I don't really want that for breakfast, but I'll eat it if they, because also I just took my meds, which means I have to eat something. So finally she came and they had in the kitchen made me a little boat of eggs, but I shouldn't have had to go to that length. And, so I was upset about that. And then, lunch was, I can't remember, was like, it was like a wrap. It was like salad, which is great, but the salad didn't have protein on it, so I needed to eat something with protein. And they had sandwiches and wraps, and the wrap, I just took it and opened it up and ate it like a, you know, which is fine, but also not what I asked for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not.
Why
Like,
would they bother asking if they're not going to do
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, if they don't understand what you mean by a diabetic meal, you know,
Right. Well, and that's what I think people don't totally get it either. And I had
'Cause
said
fruit
usually
has a lot of sugar.
Right. Usually I could probably eat a wrap because it is lower carb, but with the steroids I couldn't. If I I don't know where I went for dinner. I ate everything and I had I think it was at the airport on my way out. I had breakfast. That's right. And it was like an egg frittata thing. It was really good. And I literally had 2 bites of potato, little ones like that, like super sensitive. So I'm like I can't eat a wrap. I can't right now.
Right.
Normally it would have been not so bad, but and then the next breakfast morning, they had a little bucket. It said Greek yogurt on it, like separated out. So I grabbed that and some nuts and they had breakfast sandwiches, which had eggs and meat and everything. So what did I do? I had to open it up and like the cheese was all, glommed out of the bread. So anyway, it was not fun for me. But that's I just like, if you're not going to ask about dietary things, that's fine. I'll deal with it myself. I'll see what's there. I'll run downstairs. But if you're going to ask and you're going to tell me that it's all been taken care of and it's going to be labeled, and then it's not, like that sucks, you know? And then the second lunch was nice because they had actual pieces of chicken and salmon and salad, and that was great. It was great. So, it's just kind of rough. Of course, then second night I was there, I met someone who is from Baltimore but used to live in Chicago, and she had been talking about this local place. It's called the Chicago Pizza and Oven Grinder, and she's like, I'm going there. I'm like, do you want company? She's like, yes. So we go because I guess she just loves it. It's like a real local kind of place. Here's a picture of it. So neat. And one of the things they serve there is called a pizza pot pie. So I'm about to sound very hypocritical right now. So all of their entrees are huge, like to share. And so we got a Greek salad, and it was so very good. And so we shared the Greek salad. Now, I don't know if you know, but if you eat fiber, then it slows down the absorption of carbs. So I'm like, I'm going to eat as much of the salad as I can take. And then they sell this thing called a pizza pot pie. So what they do is they put all the pizza. Really good. Here's a photo. They put all the pizza ingredients in a bowl, and then they put the pizza bread on top, and they cook it like that, like a pot pie. And then when they come to your table, they put it upside down, take the bowl off, so you have a little bowl of pizza in the bread. And so usually, and it's made to. They have a little one and a big one, and even the little one feeds 2 people basically. So we cut it in half. And I thought, well, I'm going to pay for this, but actually with the combo and everything, and the fact that actually the crust was not very thick, it was just right, and it was a small amount that it didn't really bother me. So that was kind of my local foray for the week. It was fun, but other than complaining about food, I had a really nice time. It was really good. Nothing crazy happened. My flights were unremarkable, which I know that not everybody had. So it was good. It was a good trip.
This past week, just driving around, I had to go to your house. I had to go to a meeting.
You had to go rescue my husband?
That was pretty funny.
That was so funny.
So
Just when I arrived, he's sitting in the car, and he's like, "Oh my!" I'm like, "Oh, he's about ready to leave," and I'm holding him up,
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Can you call my phone?"
And where was his phone? It was in the very large recycle bin. He threw his phone away. That's what my husband did while I was gone. I guess he was carrying a piece of, like a can and a phone, and his phone in one hand, and he opened it and dropped it. And then later on he said, I had the can in my hand. And I'm like, oh, I guess I didn't throw the can away like I planned, so he went and threw that away too. But what he dropped in the first time was his phone. And I'm like, he's like, I didn't know what I was going to do because I couldn't call you to, I couldn't reach you to ask you to call my phone, and I couldn't reach anybody. I said, Mark, you could have emailed me or you could have emailed me. Your computer is sitting in the house. You could have emailed me, and I would have gotten an email that says, "Tell Eve to call my phone," or tell or call my phone, or whatever.
Or he could have.
Silly. He's like,
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about email.
But on the way back from that thing, and then later on another trip Beth and I were on the way back, I'm driving back, and there is a car that consistently was drifting into
Oh,
my
jeez.
lane. Not a little bit, not like on the line. No, no. At least this much
Oh man.
over into my
Texting.
lane, and then going back, and then going back over here. And then I'm like, is this a drunk person? Is this a distracted person? What is going on here? So I hung way back, and then we got to a light, and they were behind several cars, and I was up here, and I was like, I'm going ahead. So, and then I get to a light, and there's a vehicle beside me. I wasn't the first person in the light, I was the second. They were the second. They tried to change lanes as the light changed into me. I'm like, did you not see? I don't have a little car. I have a big car. Did you not see this huge car sitting right beside you? And I'm like,
Hello?
Phoenix traffic. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then Beth and I were driving to an appointment of hers the other day, and the same thing. Somebody going over into our lane, going back. Over into our lane, going back. Driving consistently over in our lane. I'm like,
There was
what's
a
the
car.
matter with you?
I think it was on that trip yesterday that there was a car that, as we were going forward, they just came whipping into our lane like very, just really close. Usually if you're changing lanes, you get a little bit ahead, so but he just this car just whipped over, and it was. I think it had a label on the back. I think it said student driver. I don't know. It went by so fast I couldn't see it, but they were like they came up really close behind the car in front of them, and then whipped into our lane with barely any clearance, and then just whipped on around.
I don't know how people.
And I thought,
That's not a
if
student
you're a
driver.
student driver, I think you don't deserve to get a
That's
license.
probably the teacher going to the next lesson.
Maybe.
Jeez. No, so I forgot to tell you about my Uber driver. Okay, so this was I take some blame, but also rude. So if an Uber driver helps me with my luggage, whatever, I will tip them. If they're rude to me, I won't, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to carry my insulin back and forth, and so I had a little ice pack that I put in my medication pack. But when I got to the hotel room, the refrigerator in my room didn't have a freezer section. So I asked them, can I give you my little freezer pack to keep for me so that it's frozen when I leave? And they're like, sure, no problem. So on Thursday, some point, I gave it to them so that Friday morning I could pick it up. And they put my room number, they wrote my room number down, and they took it. So then Friday, I go to check out, and I'm like, I need my ice pack. Now here's where I made a mistake. Because I was a little pressed for time. I was worried about time. I really was actually very early, but whatever. I was just worried about it. You know how you get when you're traveling. So I said, I need my ice pack, and I checked out, and she's like, okay, and she called back to wherever the freezer is, and said, we need this ice pack for room 30, for my room number. And so she did that, and okay. I don't want to wait around for the ice pack and then call the Uber, because then it's another 20 minutes or whatever. Who knows, right? You never know. So while she was doing that, I got pulled up Uber, and I was like, okay. And it said something like 5 minutes, for the car. And I was like, okay. So I clicked it. Because I figured it wouldn't take, I don't know how long it finally took for them to find an ice pack that they put away with my room number on it. So I'm watching, and here comes the car, and it's much closer, and all of a sudden it's here in 2 minutes. And I'm like, my Uber driver's coming. Is it coming? Do you have it? And like, well, let me call, let me think. And then the Uber driver's going to be there in 1 minute. And I'm like, "Grr." So I'm still waiting for the stupid ice pack. How hard is it to go to a freezer and find something with a room number on it? He's like, is it in a bag? I'm like, I don't know. They took it from me. I don't know. Did you put it in a bag? so I said, it's a blue square. But of course, they were looking for a blue square, but somebody had put it in a bag with room number taped to the bag. Did I know that? No. So anyway, I'm waiting. The Uber driver comes. I said, I have to go out and meet him. She's like, okay. So I go outside and I go, he rolls the window down, doesn't get out of the car. He rolls the window down and I said, I'm waiting for something of mine from the hotel. Is it okay if we just wait a second? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I can load up. And he's like, okay. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it myself. It's okay. And so that's fine. I'm like, my daughter's like, usually they don't help. I said, yeah, but I'm old and short.
I used to
Most
help.
people help.
I
Most
used
of
to
my
help.
drivers almost always help.
Well, especially because they want a good review and they want a good tip, and that, you know.
Yeah, so couldn't care less. So anyway, I opened the door and his car smelled like old clothes. And I was like, so I put my backpack in there and then I go around and I lug my suitcase into the back of his car and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I'll be right out. And I go in, still no ice pack. And I'm waiting. And I texted him and I said, I'm so sorry. They seem to have lost my item. It'll just be a minute. And then a few minutes later, he goes, how much longer? And I said, I don't know. They're still looking for it. And then I get a message from him. And he says, can you just come get your stuff and call another
Oh my
ride?
God.
And I was like, so I screenshotted that. And I think I said it should just be a minute longer, please, you know, whatever. And because I was like, and I almost said in those chats with him that I will pay you, I will tip you extra if you wait. I almost said that. But then when he was going to fire me, I'm like, no, I'm not going to say that. So, I mean, it's his right, I guess, to want to leave. But like,
Well, he doesn't get paid for waiting unless you tip him, but he doesn't get paid for waiting. Uber charges doesn't give them any extra money for waiting. You get money for the actual driving. You might get a little bit of money for waiting.
I get that, but
then,
it used to annoy me when people would take my time getting in the car. But if somebody had said, "Look, they're looking for something," I would have gone, "Okay," and I just sat there waiting.
well, not only that,
You know-
but it's like, again, if they're wanting a tip,
Yeah.
you would think they would bend over
yeah,
backwards.
like the
you
guy
know?
who brought me from the airport, we were best friends by the time we got there. He was so sweet and so nice, and like total night and day. And then, so right after he sent that, they came out with my thing, and I ran out there, and he thought I was going to get my stuff out, and I was like, no, they found it, and he's like, oh, okay. Not like, oh, I'm so glad, nothing, like just, so then I get in his stinky car, and we drive to the airport in silence, and I'm like, I am not tipping you. I'm not even going to rate you. Like, I was so mad. And we get to the airport, and he's like, all right, have a good one. Like, okay, just a sec, let me get all my crap out of your car. Like,
Yeah.
and then I get, messages from Uber, tip him. I'm like, no. I just, like,
Did you should have sent them the screenshot that you took of that rude thing.
thought about it, but I thought, I don't know what their policy is on waiting, but the thing is, it's not like I just was inside and I said, can you please wait for me?
Yeah.
I went out, I explained the situation. It was beyond my control. And when I got in the car, I was like, this is for my medication. I could not leave it. Like, I can't, like, just walk out.
Yeah.
So, like, anyway.
Yeah, like I said,
It was very frustrating.
it's like any like taxi kind of driver or whatever, like anything that is depending on, well, just like a waitress or what, in a restaurant, that part of if they're wanting a good tip from the patron is being very, very helpful, very conciliatory, very,
well, sure.
you know,
and I'm not trying to
can I help you?
abuse
Can I do
anyone.
things? Yeah,
But
let's say,
it's just a matter of like I figured, especially because I went out and said,
yeah,
I have this problem. This is an unusual problem.
mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I would be ready. You know, and yeah, it was my fault for calling him, but you just never know. Like sometimes you call somebody and it's going to be 20 minutes before the car shows up,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to get to a plane.
and I didn't think it'd be so hard for the stupid hotel to find my thing.
Mm-hmm.
So of like all these things happened, and I realized it was not ideal, but I went out and said, "Is it okay?" Like I asked him, he's like, "Oh yeah, sure," but then he gets impatient, and I don't know. It was just
But
kind of
you should have rated him. You should have rated him with a low rating and said, I had a problem. I had to wait for something for my medication.
yeah,
I explained it. I didn't expect to have to wait,
yeah.
you know. And
I just decided to.
and then
let
you
him
also should have said,
go into the.
you also should have said, the car smells really bad. I got.
Buy another one
It
of
did
those.
not smell good.
Buy
I-
another one of those little pine trees.
I carried a family, and I didn't know they were eating in my car. And immediately after that, I got another call to go get somebody. And it was another family. And they complained about there being trash in the back, in the very, very, very back, where I can't see it, you know, and say, just a minute, let me gather
Yeah,
this
yeah.
trash. So they complained about my car being dirty.
Yeah,
And I was like, I was very meticulous about my
I
car.
remember.
And right now my car's a mess. And it's driving me nuts because I'm like, my car's so dirty. But I was very meticulous about the car. That trash would have been gone. I carried a man from Scottsdale who thought he was the bee's knees, and he was talking so ugly to employees of his. And I was like, you're a horrible, horrible person. And I get out, he gets out of the car at the airport, and I go back to help with luggage and stuff like that. And he had been eating, and he left all this garbage in my car, and I was like, you're some bougie guy from Scottsdale who owns his own business, and you can't pick up your own garbage that you've been eating in my car? His son did.
Oh man.
His son was riding with him to the airport. He didn't say one word to his son the entire trip.
Oh man.
Yeah. So you should,
Yeah. I don't know.
because if you give a, because then I was always really careful to check the car afterward. But if you leave a thing saying the car smelled really bad and he was rude and impatient
Yeah.
on something that was beyond my control.
Yeah.
If you leave a review, you don't have to be ugly about it.
No. Yeah.
You know, just say, I was just very unhappy.
Yeah.
With, you know, he didn't help with the luggage. He didn't, you know.
And that to me, that's extra. That's what you get tipped for, is doing extra.
Right.
But I don't know. I was just.
Well, and again, I think it's a matter of being courteous. If you want a good tip, if you
Yeah.
want a good reputation, a good review, you know, then you do everything. Like, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Stuber.
Yes.
But he has drinks and water and snacks and all this kind of stuff because he's trying to get a good review from his customers. So, you know, it's like, yeah, you know, you want to do whatever you can to be conciliatory, to be nice, to be helpful, to be whatever, because you're hoping that the person you give a ride to is going to give you a good tip.
Right.
Well,
You know, because that's over and above whatever
even
they
just
pay.
a good review.
You know.
I got a lady get mad at me because I didn't have an iPhone charger. I was like, I don't have an iPhone, so I don't have. I bought an iPhone charger
Yeah.
because her phone was dying and she didn't know. You know, and she had to call an Uber from the next place that she was going to.
Oh my
and I was
gosh.
like,
When I went to
this
that.
is falls under the category of not my problem.
When I went to that, when I went to the Chicago pizza and oven grinder place, all day my phone, I stupidly didn't charge my phone well, and my batteries had died at the conference, and then we went, so I was like, I said to my friend, I'm like, well, I'm gonna go take my backpack, I'm gonna walk back to the hotel, and then we'll just meet there. So we each took our own Ubers. But while I was like putting my stuff down and changing, I didn't charge my phone. And I had these two little batteries, and I thought they were both charged, but I mean, one of them I knew I had killed it at the conference, and I had another one, and I thought, okay, I'll take it with me. So I'm in the Uber trying to charge it, and it's like it would charge for a second and then not. So as I'm getting there, it's like going lower and lower and lower. I'm like, oh crap, I don't have enough battery power to call an Uber and ride back with it. You know what I mean? So I was like, what am I gonna do? And I don't know Chicago well enough, so he dropped me off at the restaurant. But then it's like it's not like a CVS right there or something where I could buy a power bank. So I was like, oh.
No, even if you did, it wouldn't be charged.
No, they have juice in them when you buy them nowadays. But so when my friend got there, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. She's like, well, we'll just take. So because we were staying not in the same hotel but close to each other, so we shared a ride back. I was so grateful, but yeah, my battery was dying. And so I just had to turn my phone off during dinner because I'm like, I have no juice. That's so stupid.
When the first time I took an Uber was when I lived in Little Rock. I think they were relatively new at that point. And so I took an Uber to the airport, and the guy was really nice, everything. But because I lived downtown, I lived pretty close to the airport. But the reason I called the Uber instead of a taxi, because I used to call taxi cabs all the time, and there were basically two routes to get to the airport. You know, you could go down the main street that I lived near, like I lived a block off of this main 9th Street, and hit the freeway and take the freeway to the airport. But this guy, because I guess he was trying to get, you know, a larger fare.
You mean the taxi driver?
Yeah, taxi driver went through a neighborhood. The neighborhood, you know, instead of going on, you know, directly to the freeway, he's winding around, and I'm like, I'm in a hurry because I was already running late, and I think that was the time I missed my flight because I had stayed up all night. I wasn't packed or anything. And if I didn't go to bed, I was like packing like a crazy person. And I didn't want to call the taxi cab before I was finished packing because I didn't want them, you know,
to wait,
to leave without me or whatever. So I finally finished packing, and then I called them, and
then it was an hour.
And I was sitting outside in front of the apartment building waiting for the taxi cab, and I'm like, you know, like, and then they finally got there. And it was a guy, and I guess his girlfriend or something, and so they're, you know, and I'm like, I'm really running late, and they're like, okay, and so then he starts going through the neighborhood, and I'm like, I'm running late. He goes, oh, okay, and so then he, you know, and I'm like, yeah. So after that, I think the next time I took an airplane, I went. Called an Uber.
I tried to take a Waymo to the airport, which is our little robot driverless cars, but they only, because I guess there's construction going on right now where they usually go, so now they just take you to the SkyTrain. They take you there, and then you can ride the SkyTrain. And I was like, well, that's okay. But then in the morning when I finally went to call one, the time waiting for the car was way too long. I'm like, Mark, get up, you have to take me, because I'm like, because they would take me. Because it doesn't go on the freeway, so it would take me longer to get to the place, and then I have to get on the train, and I'm like, no.
I saw a video of a woman. I saw a video of a woman. She goes, "I'm trapped. There was two Waymo cars that wouldn't move. The lights were cycling, and they were just sitting there, wouldn't move. And she was trapped, you know, by the Waymo cars, and so was everybody behind her, right? and then one of the Waymo cars started going in reverse. And she's like,
So, yeah, you see videos like that, but most of the time, 90% of the time, they are totally fine.
I saw one.
I feel bad when they get confused, poor little robots.
I saw one where it was on the light rail here.
Yeah, that one, it turned in the wrong way, and you know.
And the guy's like, I'm getting out of the car.
Yeah. But I like the little robots. I think they're
very good, and it's so hard to turn the right area sometimes, especially downtown.
People, yeah. So I mean,
Where the wave.
yes,
where
they get
the right-
confused and they kind of get stuck sometimes. However, they don't fall asleep, they don't text, and they don't get drunk,
Yeah.
which is
And they don't take the long way. I mean, they do take the long
do
way,
take
but
the
you
long way
know,
'cause they're not on the
but
freeway.
I mean, they don't take the long way
And
to
they
get
don't
paid
care.
more. To get paid
and
more.
now they don't help you with your luggage. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you back in in June. Almost in
no.
June.
Oh,
one more
no.
week of
One more-
May.
another
One more
week
week
of
of May.
Yeah.
Oh, my job. I can't even talk about it. We're in the middle of making our season. Got some good names coming, but it is crunch time. So I will be very stressed between now and next week. So next week, maybe I will feel better, but probably not. So thank you so much for being with us again, and we will see you at the end of May. Bye.